Welcome back at the Lodge with Jim and Michelle, a podcast celebrating life spent in the great outdoors. Whether you're an angler, a hunter, trapper, or someone just enjoying an active outdoors lifestyle, this show is for you. Join Jim Broughton and Michelle Sherman as they discuss outdoor news, opinions, events, and much more occurring over recent weeks. It's time now to pull up a chair, pour a favorite beverage, gather close to the campfire, and kick up those tired feet and relax, because you're back at the Lodge.
Welcome back, listeners, to Back at the Lodge podcast. This is just Michelle, no Jim. All this week I've been at the POMA conference, and you've heard some great interviews from the conference. But now I happen to be with Melissa Bachman. Welcome, Melissa, to the show again.
Thank you guys for having me again. I sure appreciate it.
No pork chop this time.
No pork chop this time, so she does not get to lick the mic, so there will not be extra noise, just
fun.
me.
That was fun. Actually, the podcast that you did with me that one time, which people can go on iTunes and find, is probably one of my most listened to podcasts, right next to Mark Strand talking about turkey hunting.
Oh.
That seemed to really hit a chord with people, too. People like
Great.
talking about turkey hunting. But I just wanted to take a few minutes of your time today because we were talking about how to ask people to do a podcast, because you get asked all the time. So it's very simple to ask you, but there are maybe some parameters people want to be aware of.
I think the best thing to do is email people and ask if they will do it. And when you're asking, give them a lot of information, mm-hmm. right? Because the easiest thing is just to say, no, I'm really busy, right? But if you're very specific on
Make it hard to say no.
Yes, exactly. And how to do that is, one, give me a variety of times, right? Say we record on Wednesday evenings or whenever it is, or if it's completely flexible, let me know that. Also, let me know what it is, how I can find them so I can listen to a few. And lastly, tell me how long it's going to be. I understand a lot of people have hour-long podcasts. An hour is a lot of time to set aside. Plus, I can't imagine anyone wants to hear me talk for an hour. So what I think is best is if people will say, maybe we have an hour-long podcast, but we're looking for 15 minutes of your time. Anybody can clear 15 minutes of their time out of their schedule. Right. So be very specific on that initial ask, and I think you're going to have a lot better time having people not say no and agreeing to do it.
Yeah, I think, you really struck a chord there with the time thing, is that, they're like, oh, if I can get this person, this celebrity on this podcast and have them for a whole hour, it's really going to blow my podcast up. Well, for one, there's no algorithm in podcasts. It's not like YouTube. So whether or not they have you on for 15 minutes or an hour doesn't matter. And number two, would you rather have them on for 15 minutes or have them say no to an hour? I mean, it's really that simple, mm-hmm. right? It's really that cut and dry. So I think a lot of people have been burned by podcasters in the past because for some reason, a lot of podcasters I speak with keep talking about hour and a half long podcasts, and I don't get it. Like, I was at the POMA conference giving a presentation about it, and I tried to drill in their heads, you don't have to do this. Well, they kept asking me, well, how long should we have? Look, I don't care how long your podcast is. Once the conversation comes to a lull, or you can kind of tell that, they want to go, wrap it up. Mm-hmm. It could be 10 minutes. It could be 30 minutes, unless they're very specific with you. Like you said, like, look, I'm going to give you 15 minutes today, and that's that. I don't know. It's like they all read the same book or something.
Well, and I think it comes down to a lot of times people think more is better, right? The more of it they can do. The other thing is to be somewhat organized on it. If I go into it that has questions, yes, of course it should be free-flowing and asking questions.
But you like to have questions ahead of time, right?
And I don't ask for them ahead of time, but it's nice if they already have in their minds made up what they're going to ask, because it just keeps things moving along. Yeah. Of course, there's always room for conversation and listening to things and getting off topic, but it's nice to have some sort of a list of questions that they're looking back to keep everybody on task and to keep it headed in the right direction.
Do you send them topics that you want to...
No.
Okay. You're like, I really want to make sure I cover these points.
And they always will ask if there's anything specific I want to cover, which is very nice. I could care less. Usually there's nothing specific other than when my show is on, and that's all I need. But it is something good to ask if someone's going to take time out of their schedule to help be on your podcast. ask them, is there anything you'd like covered, or how can
Right.
people find you? You know, just little simple things that gives them a little bit of value back. And then, of course, make sure to follow it up with an email saying when the podcast is live, so that they can
And
also
provide a
share
link
it.
or whatever.
And maybe
Yeah.
they will, maybe they won't share it.
Yeah.
I can't share podcasts every time I do them because I'm doing them all the time.
Yeah.
But it is nice to give them that follow up, or even give them feedback on what went well, and
Right.
and thank them for coming, and maybe you can do another one.
Right. No, I like that. And I agree with you on, people, when you have a podcast, you think it's about you. And it's really not about you. It's about your guests. It's about whoever you're interviewing. It's about them. You should be asking them questions. You should be listening to them. And I'm sure you've run into a situation where maybe they had this list of questions they really wanted to get through, but you might have answered something and there could have been a real story there to go down. But instead they just kind of glazed over it and went on to the next thing. And you're like, okay, well, whatever.
And and each podcast is different. Everybody has their own themes on them, and are looking for different things. But ultimately, you got to think about what your viewers and what your listeners are wanting to hear.
Right, right. No, I agree with. Even at the POMA conference, someone wanted to do a podcast with me, and I know he wanted to do a longer podcast. And we just happened to be at the same place at the same time. And I said, well, I have about 15, 20 minutes. He goes, well, I just don't think that's going to be enough time. And I said, oh, yes, it is. I said, if we want to do this podcast, it is. And it was fine. Like, I think it probably turned out better because we were more concise, and he was asking the questions that he really wanted to get out there versus, I don't know, some of these like, oh, we're going to do fast fire questions. What's your favorite color, Melissa? What?
I've been there, done that.
What's your favorite gun? Tell me about your first whitetail hunt. Like,
I've had a couple where I'm like, pass.
are you serious? Yeah.
Like
it's a game
pass.
show.
I said, phone a friend. I don't know. I'm not answering.
No comment. I love
Plead the
it.
fifth. I'm out. Moving on. Next fast question.
And I'm sure that threw them off, or they're like,
Oh yeah, because and it threw me off. Whatever their question was, I'm like, I don't know.
I do like Jay Scott with Big Buck Registry is probably one of the podcasters I put on a pedestal. I really look up to him because he has a day job, but he does such a wonderful job making this podcast work for him. For one, like you said, the scheduling, he does it every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Whatever Wednesday works for you, that's he'll make it work. And it could be 3 months from now, but we'll get it in the schedule. And he does do a longer podcast. But the other thing he does do, of course, he has a conversation with the guest prior to push record. And he tells them, this is kind of how it's going to go, and we're going to do this, and just kind of walk them through it a little bit. And he will ask a question, perhaps, what's your most memorable hunt? Which
is very open-ended.
Right, and you might need a second, so he might tell you, hey, sometime during this podcast, I'm going to ask you this question where you might need a second for it or whatever. Or one of the questions he asked on a recent podcast was, if you had a billboard, what would it read? Kind of one of those type of deals where you're
phone
like...
a friend?
Yeah.
Can I phone my friend Michelle?
Yeah. Wait, billboard? What? Oh.
I know. Got pork chop?
There you go. Adopt a Boston Terrier today.
Yeah, right. Pork Chop's Friend Foundation.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. Yeah. How is Pork Chop doing?
She's doing great. She's at home right now with my parents and their dogs, and she's on
Loving
Squirrel and Rabbit Patrol. Loving it. And I promise she's happier there than with me, but I'm sad to miss her.
Could I rent her out for Rabbit Patrol?
No, but you can rent her and I.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't need you to come over. I need her to come.
We're a package deal. Where she goes, I go.
We have such a problem with rabbits in my backyard this year because it was not a harsh winter in Minnesota. So they just really...
multiplied
multiplied like rabbits. They really did. So I'm having a hard time this year.
Pork Chop will chase them around.
Man, you need to come over some night and we'll cook out and let her just go wild.
Oh, yeah,
she'll have a fun time. So okay, well, thanks so much for offering these little tidbits. I hope people take them to heart. It's not that the guest doesn't want to be on your show, but you're really making it easy for them to say no. So make it hard for them to say no by shortening up the time, even offering, if you did your homework on them, you should know a few things about them, like, oh, your recent trip to XYZ. I really want to talk about your new trailer that you got. Tell me all about that or whatever. I think doing your homework on you versus what's your most memorable whitetail hunt? What is
Well, and just making sure that they have a benefit too. Everyone's doing
Yeah.
it because they want some promotion out of it as well. So asking those questions and letting them have a minute at the end. Where can we find you? It's real simple. I've had a lot of people ask that, and that's a nice, easy thing to do.
Yeah, so you can throw out all your social handles and everything. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, Melissa, where can they find you?
You can find Michelle, and she can tell you.
Yeah, all right. I love it. Well, Instagram's a hot thing right now.
So it's Melissa_Bachman on Instagram.
Yeah.
Go there and find me, and from there,
You'll
and
find
check
it.
out Pork Chop's page. It's Pork Chop Was Here. Hers is the coolest of all.
Yeah. She's got only 400 followers, so we really need to get that up there.
She doesn't care. Her feelings aren't hurt. As long
She's
as there's some
fine.
squirrel followers.
Yeah. Squirrels are us. All right. Thanks again.
Yep, thank you.